Hey everyone. So a lot of people after the last video asked me to talk about my diagnosis, asked me to talk about how I dealt with it, how I was, all those kind of things. Now, to be perfectly honest with you, I can't give you a step-by-step guide of how to deal with an HIV diagnosis. All I can do is tell you my story. I did a lot of things that were not good for me, but hopefully in me telling you my story will help you if you're going through anything similar. Okay, here it comes. When I got my diagnosis, I fell apart. I didn't know what to do. I thought my life was over. I planned my funeral. I cried so much. Now this is all stuff that I did when I was alone, and you know, it's been a few years now since I was diagnosed, and there wasn't the same way of talking about it on the internet. There wasn't stuff on YouTube. There was very limited stuff on YouTube. Every night I would go to bed and I would pray that I wouldn't wake up the next day, that would be it, that you know, people would think I died of a heart attack rather than them knowing that I died of this horrible, disgusting, filthy disease, because that's what I thought of it. You know, that's the way people thought of it, and that's what you got from people. So it was a scary time for me. My diagnosis really did feel like a death sentence. I didn't see a future for myself. I kind of felt as if I needed to enjoy myself now because I wouldn't be here in a few years' time. And it was a very hard and dark time for me. And I did a lot of the wrong things. You know, I did a lot of stupid things that got me more messed up and, you know, made problems worse. But I was always fighting to not go home, not go back to my flat at night, because when I went back home, when I was on my own, then I fell apart. You know, and for me, and this is the God's honest truth, you know, for me it took 2 years, but that's because I didn't have any help. I'm sure with help and with support and with watching videos like this and things like that, that it will be easier, or it can be easier. But it took me about 2 years to not wake up every single morning and the first thought in my head to be, I have HIV. That was the first thought in the morning and the last thought at night. And it was a horribly scary thought, you know, because I just didn't know what the future was. I didn't see a future. I didn't know who would ever love me, who would want to be with me. I felt the Grim Reaper was there waiting for me. And I expected to be gone very soon after getting my diagnosis. I remember when I actually got it, I was sitting in the doctor's office and she said, would you like to call anybody? And I called my friend David and I told him that I was going for the test. And I just said, I've got HIV, because I was so stunned that it could happen to me, so stunned that something else was happening. And I remember talking to him on the phone and just being in disbelief. Just how can this have happened? I continued to work, and what I did really was basically put everything into working and going out with my friends afterwards and partying. That was the whole extent of it, because when I was doing that, I wasn't going home, because when I went home, as I said, I cried, I thought about my funeral, I just was in the depths of despair. So I would go out with friends, I would go to work, and then I would go out and socialise with friends, go drinking, go messing around with drugs, just anything I could possibly do to forget what I had. And it took time, it really took time, you know, and obviously I became positive through being attacked. So when I eventually did tell people, then I had to tell them that as well. So it was a kind of double-edged sword for people when I did tell them. There was one person who I kind of did look at, and that was a guy called Pedro Zamora. If you don't know about him, look him up. He was on The Real World, San Francisco, years ago, but he was just this is before I had my diagnosis, and I saw him and I remember thinking, oh my goodness, because he was just this wonderfully bright, energetic, happy, giving guy who was out on television and saying, I'm HIV positive, and this is what the disease is, this is what it does, this is about prevention. And Pedro lost his fight not long after finishing the real world. He died. And even though he'd passed away, he was somebody that when I got my diagnosis, I remembered and looked back on. And if I got my diagnosis now, I think I would definitely, well, I know I would definitely take advantage of YouTube. I would take advantage of websites and information that you can get, you know, stuff from. I would also take advantage of my doctors and the other healthcare professionals that are around to help you in these times. And I would take full advantage of my friends, which I didn't do because I was too scared of losing them, of scaring them off, of just making them freak out because they had somebody in their group that had HIV. I wish I'd talked to them more and not held on to it all myself for such a long time, because it was a hard, you know, burden to carry. So that's my advice. Talk about it. Get out there, do something. You know, find the people that you can trust, even if it's just one person, even if it's me, you know, just tell somebody so you're not the only person that knows about it. After that, I just kind of started trying to piece my life together again. I stopped doing stupid things that weren't helping me and started learning more about the disease, going onto YouTube, finding the bits of information that there were, reading up stuff, all the things that I should have done in the first place, but didn't, and got used to being alone. You know, got used to not thinking the sad, unhappy thoughts that I was thinking when I was alone, when I had been alone before, and just trying to make something out of my life with HIV, rather than let it be the death sentence that so many people still to this day think it is. And I wanted to make something of it, and I suppose in a way that's why I'm doing Hart Talks. It's inspired me to talk, and the last HIV video I did it got a lot of views, got new subscribers, and it seems to be that there's still a need for people to talk about HIV. So please remember to put in the comment section below what you want to hear more of. I hope my story about my diagnosis has helped in some way. You've either had a laugh or you've learned something. You know, as I say, I was a mess. I was no good for anything, but it's amazing how you can continue to function and do your usual thing while inside you're falling apart. But the more you know, the better. The more support you have, the better. The more you get and talk to your doctors and, you know, the people that are involved with HIV, the better. It's all stuff, you know, that is definitely on the list for you if you have become HIV positive recently. And you know the routine from here, it's like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know what you want. The more you tell me, the more I'll do. Okay, thank you and take care, and I'll see you in 2 weeks time. Take care, be good, look after yourself. Gracie. Could you please get out of the camera? Yes. Gracie, I want to start filming. What are you doing?